This is the M18 Milwaukee 3 1/4 inch planer. Okay, this is a wood planer, battery operated. Okay, there's different size batteries you can get, but they're all the M18 style. Okay, fits this bad boy. You can get high output batteries. You can get ones that are a little less money. Okay, the higher output ones cost more money, so it's up to you. All right, this thing is handheld. It's very lightweight. Okay, it's got a cutting blade right here that you have to be very careful of if the battery's in. If it's not in, it's no big deal. But this thing spins, okay, and you see it cuts. It's like the suck cut, okay? You're gonna run this thing across a board. Say you had a board and it had a crown in it, which means like a hump on one side. You wanted to flatten that thing out. You're building a table or you're building a project and you notice there's a crown and that thing has a hump on it. You wanted to shave off some or plane it off. You could use a planer just like this, okay? Battery operated, all right? It's got these two nubs right here that I showed are dust ports. You can get the dust to blow out that way, or you can get the dust to blow out that way, okay? All you do is switch this bad boy right here, okay? That's where all the wood chips will go, either side. Depends which side you're cutting on. Okay? Also, the trigger right here, in order to pull this, is a safety, okay? You have to push down on this right here. At the same time you push down, well, you push down first, then squeeze the trigger. If you don't push down, you can't pull the trigger. And if you're working on the other side, it's the same exact thing. You push down on it, you pull the trigger. Without doing both, you can't work this thing, all right? So, battery goes right in the back. I showed you. If you have these tools or you've used them before, you know how to put a battery in. If not, you just slide this battery in. Fits in pretty much just like you're a little kid. You were at school and you're doing the puzzle. Clips in. When you hear that clip, it's in. In order to get it out, you squeeze the two sides, two little red tabs, you squeeze them and you pull up. Okay, and that thing comes out. Besides that, has a dial right here. This thing can change your depth. That's gonna allow this blade to come out more, and you can plane off so much wood, okay? The lower you go, the more that thing's gonna stick out, the more you're gonna take off that board. So I would not recommend dropping that thing down big time. Drop it down a little bit, run it across, take a look at it, maybe put a level on it or a straight edge. You gotta take a little more out, drop it down a little more, try it again, or drop down a little bit and just keep taking swipes. Run that thing across that board once, check it, twice, check it, 3 times, check it, okay? It's an easy tool to use. You're gonna hold on to this bad boy right here, okay? The only thing is you're gonna hold on to the trigger with whatever hand you're with, whatever side you are, lefty or righty, and you're gonna hold on to this nub, the little dial. Be careful not to turn this thing. You hear that? Don't turn this thing when you're using it, because you'll change the depth. You'll either raise it up or lower that thing when you're cutting, and that'll mess up your cut. So try not to let that front hand move at all and hear that cranking, okay? This little black nub right here, it's got a little black nub on it that allows it to catch right in here. So I would flatten it out, push it to the side, and it locks. I want to open it, I push down, pull it back to the middle, and let go, and it flips up. See this thing? And that is so that when you put this thing down, the blade doesn't hit your table or your sawhorse or your material or whatever you're putting it down on, okay? If you don't put that little nub down, there's a chance you could forget and put this thing down and the thing's gonna cut or run wild and mess up your day. You don't wanna mess up your day. You have a good day, okay? So keep the thing in when you're not using it. Right here, there's a screw, or a female end, they call it. All right, it's a female end, whatever, that's what they call it. Right there, on both sides. And now you have this guide, I should say, that comes with it, okay? And you can flip it from left to right, okay? It's already set up. It's got these little nubs on here that you turn, okay? If I'm cutting a piece of lumber and I want to make sure I get a nice straight cut, okay? take the battery out always. Line this screw up right here with the female end, okay? For all of you out there that are learning about tools, there's a female and a male end usually on screws or things like that, or bolts, okay? The male end is the end that's going into the other end. The other end is the female end. Blades down all the way flat. There's nothing sticking out, so I'm not gonna wreck it, I'm not gonna scratch it or ruin anything or ding it up. No battery. Put this thing right on the edge of this table right here, okay? Now this thing would hold it against the board, okay? Just like it's holding it against this table. And now I can slide down and I can plane my material, okay? If I have to go back and do it again, I can go back and do it again, and again, and again, okay? See right here? This would be my board, where my fingers are, where my hand is, and this thing guides right alongside of it, okay? It keeps it nice and straight, or as straight as it can. And it cuts 3 1/4 inches wide, okay? That's how wide this blade is. If you have a board that's wider than that, you're gonna need a bigger planer, or you're gonna need some kind of a sanding machine to put it through, or you're gonna have to do multiple passes with this thing and get it across, which is a lot harder, okay? All right, they make a planer that you could buy. They make a bunch of planers. Could be 12 inches wide. They make some that are even bigger, okay? And you can run the whole board through that thing and it'll do this thing. Instead of buying this thing, you could buy one of those things. But this thing's gonna cost you 200 and something bucks, 300 something with the battery. Or you can buy one of those for 5, 6, 7, 800 bucks. Or a big industrial one for a lot more money. And you can put a bigger board through that thing. Depends what you're doing. Excuse me. I want to go from on this side to the opposite side, okay? It's going to take you a minute to figure it out, probably. Took me a minute. I'm special. One very important thing is to sit this table flat on your stock and not leave it up like this or like this, okay? Sit it flat and run it through. If you leave it up like this, it runs and then all of a sudden your blade hits, okay? I'm gonna take the blade out. I'm gonna take the battery out. The blade right here is in the middle. So you get to run your course, you get to run it across until right there, then it hits the blade. If you're like this, and you hit the blade, it's gonna carve out an indent, and then it's gonna go flat, okay? At the end of your board, if you're running that thing parallel at the end of your board, and then you push down, it's gonna whack at the end of your board. So, nice and flat. Keep this table, I guess, flat on here as best you can, and run it nice and flat. You have about, it's about a good 4 inches, 4.5 inches to get it going and hold it flat, okay? It's kind of a feel. You should feel it nice and flat, and then just let the blade carry in, okay? I'm hitting the blade right here, okay? And the same when you get to the end, okay? Any kind of deviation up or down when you run off at the end, or when you start like this, is gonna do that to your piece, okay? You're gonna have that, and then you're gonna have that, okay? Very important. Not screw that crap up. You know what I'm saying? And as you're grabbing this and cutting, don't turn it, don't twist, because you'll screw up your height. You'll be like this. You'll be like Jason Momoa there, Aquaman, be swimming. You don't wanna do that. Don't be Jason Momoa. But you want to. Pretty handsome. adjust it, make sure this thing stays tight. Seem to loosen up a little bit. If I want to put it on the bevel, I turn those little nubs. Oop, take the battery out. Okay, turn the little nubs on each end. Adjust this little plate. Okay, how much do I adjust it? I don't know. What are you doing? I don't know what you're doing. All right, so you adjusted this thing. Look at my bevel. Okay. Now I'm gonna put the bevel part flat against my board. Watch my fingers. I'm gonna run this thing along it and let's see what happens. Oh boy. All right, everybody. You see that bevel right there? When I adjusted that plate, that is what it does, okay? Now, you are going to have to practice on your own. All right? And you're gonna have to see how good or bad that does, all right? You have to play with it on your own. Not something you use every single day, but very nice to have in your shop. You need to plane something nice and quick. Couple passes, nice and flat, good to go, Idaho. Try to works, rock on.